Okay, so it's the conclusion of the Super Fours stage for Team India and Team Afghanistan. Tough fight for both the teams throughout the series, I would say, in this Asia Cup. But today's game saw Team India ruling over Afghanistan convincingly. And behold, what a sight! Finally, our very own Virat Kohli is back in form. He finally gets to score his 71st century after a very, very long wait. These are good signs. Thank you so much, Virat Kohli. And take a look at Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. How great and how brilliant was he with his bowling spell. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the post match show of the Super 4 clash between India and Afghanistan. And I take this opportunity to welcome my distinguished guests, Joydeep Mukherjee and Nishant Jeet Arora. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining. Joyda, straight away, before we delve into the dissection of this game, though there unfortunately isn't much to talk about because Afghanistan unfortunately weren't that effective with the bat. But let's take one player at a time. Virat Kohli is back.
Yeah, he is, and we saw signs of him coming back earlier in the this tournament as well. You know, there was little glimpses of him being at his best. He himself has said that he was out for 6 weeks, didn't touch a bat for 30 days. When he came back and he batted in the nets, he found his old rhythm coming back. These are his words, and when he says that, those are ominous signs. But Virat Kohli and everybody was superb today. KL Rahul and Bhuvi and the whole team. But this is what I was talking about, form. This form. Now, a lot of people who have not played sport will say why we couldn't play like this in the last two games.
Yes,
That is why this is not something that you can just, it's not a lifeline which you can use at any point in time. It basically is, uh, you know, something that comes and sometimes it doesn't come. And when it doesn't come, it's very frustrating. All of us are disappointed, but it's only because it's not at your beck and call, is the point I'm trying to make here.
definitely. Nishant, what do you have to say? You have been extremely vocal about Virat Kohli on multiple occasions. Well, he's finally back. He gets his 71st century after a very, very long wait.
Uh, my first reaction when I saw him getting 100 was that you can't keep a good man down. You just can't keep a good man down for a very long time. And I want to make one very, very special point here. When Virat Kohli took this long break, I read a lot of critics talking about, that how will you get your form back by not batting or by resting? And at that time, I very well remember that we had a discussion about how mentally you are sometimes stuck. It's like, what happens in your life is that at times you become like a computer where you have opened far too many apps and then it starts hanging. And that is the time you have to restart. To restart, you have to shut down the computer once to reboot it again. And I think that's what Virat did in a completely scientific way. I am trying to tell this, and a lot of people questioned his decision of not going to Zimbabwe, not going to West Indies, but I think he knew what he was doing, and that is why he's Virat Kohli. Even if Virat Kohli retires tomorrow, he will go down as one of the greatest players India has ever produced. There's no doubt about it. Look at his hundreds today. He's on par with Ricky Ponting in terms of international hundreds today. So, and Ricky Ponting is not a small player. He's a great, modern day great. So what I'm trying to say here is that I'm so happy to see Virat Kohli in these runs. It's a great news for Indian cricket. And in a modern cricket, it's also a lesson that if a certain player wants to do it a certain way, if he does it certain way, then again fails, then criticize him. But don't trust his integrity. Don't judge his integrity. Don't judge his endeavor. Don't judge his commitment for the cause.
Definitely, and it's really great to see our very own Virat Kohli finally back. We finally got to see the glimpses of the old Virat Kohli we are also used to seeing. And with the bat of Virat Kohli was so great. Joyda, let's talk a bit about India's batting today. How was your impression to see KL Rahul among the runs as well today?
Yeah, very important one because, as I was saying in the pre show, he's a very important member of the team. The reason being of what he can do average 40, strike rate 140. He is not in the best of form. And it's one inning like this sometimes that can just crack open the code. You know, Virat was also not batting like this in the last three games. Today was at a different level. Today was the old Virat. And one inning like this, okay, inconsequential game, but it's still tough game. This is the team that had Pakistan on the ropes yesterday. So innings like this just gets you back to where you were. Sometimes it's a
Yeah.
couple of shots that gets you back to where you are. A couple of
Yes.
shots. I've gone and
Yes.
played matches where I'm struggling and then one hit and one cut and I feel, oh, my groove is back. And it's come back. So for these guys, as great as they are, I mean, Virat is at a different level. He'll be known as one of the greatest that has ever played the game. But even if we talk about KL, he is very integral for India. It's very easy to say, let's leave him out. Who's going to replace him? Sanju Samson, Ishan Kishan, with all due respect to them, they are not at the level of KL Rahul. They cannot do what KL Rahul can do with the bat. They have not done it so far. KL Rahul has done it. He's a three-version player for India. Yeah, but it's the job of the management to make sure that they help him get back to his best. And hopefully that's happened today. He's got a few more games. And if after that he doesn't find his A game, then he doesn't make the plane or he doesn't make it as 11. But give him all you've got. Your best players, you give them all. Bhuvi, you give them. Today, Bhuvi could have rested, but he played today. We saw the swing. Just because he's given 14 and 16 in 2 overs in the 19th over doesn't make him a bad bowler. Lasit Malinga has done that time and again.
Definitely.
Because
Definitely.
when a batsman fails 5 games, he goes away. But a bowler fails 2 games, we out to the chopping block. Doesn't work like that. Because
Absolutely.
we don't have a Wasim Akram and Wakar and another Bumrah and another Malinga waiting. So whatever we have to do with that. Who are dead ball bowlers? Bumrah, Bhuvi, Harshal maybe. Who are dead ball bowlers? So इन तीनों को ही ready करना पड़ेगा. हमारे पास हम तो we can't create one, no. जो है
And
उसी चलना पड़ेगा.
Arshdeep Dada.
Yeah, Arshdeep now in the picture. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And it's really, really great to see both Virat Kohli again back to his old form. And we do hope that from here on, he can just continue being the old Virat Kohli we all have always been so used to seeing. And KL Rahul can just carry on forward with this confidence of this innings that he has played. So if these two were so great with the bat, let's have Nishant talking to us about how brilliant Bhuvaneshwar Kumar was with the ball. He finished with figures of unbelievable 4 overs, just 4 runs, and a 5 wicket haul. Like he took more wickets than he conceded runs. How unbelievable was he?
I always have a special liking for Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. Despite playing his cricket for almost a decade, he has been part of the Indian setup. He's still one of those, very shy, very quiet guy who goes about his business very, very quietly. You don't see him in media too often. You don't see him on social media too often. He's still a very, very simple Meerut boy. And at times when I meet Bhuvneshwar, I tell him that तुम भी मेरठ से थे और प्रवीण कुमार भी मेरठ से था. दोनों का स्किल भी एक जैसा था. लेकिन टेम्परामेंट में जमीन आसमान का फर्क. Like they both come from the same ground actually, but very different, in terms of mindset. And that's what makes Bhuvi very special. He has a very, very mature head over his shoulders. Two bad games, he didn't allow him to go down with that. He came back so strongly today. And I think what happened for him was that he got some swing at that Dubai ground today. And when the ball is swinging, Bhuvneshwar Kumar is lethal. And
You know,
another good thing India did was they finished with his over. He bowled all his 4 overs in one stint. And Afghanistan, without taking much credit away from India, Virat Kohli, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, they were a little flat today. I think the defeat last game, the heat, the energy they must have lost in the last game. When you lose a match like that, which they lost yesterday, it becomes very difficult. When you also know that even if you win today, you are not going to go ahead in the tournament. So in 24 hours to recover and play again your A game is sometimes too much of a ask for the team. And I think that's what we saw today. But all credit to Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. He looked in ominous form today. With new ball, he's lethal. And with old ball also, his experience is quite handful. And I'm sure this experience, this of performance will do a word of good to him.
You see, just the last point
Yeah.
you made is an important one. We have very few bowlers who can bowl with the new ball and at the end. We've got
Yeah.
Deepak Chair who bowls in the beginning, one in the middle,
Hmm.
and one 14 pe, and he's done. Then we have
Hmm.
Harshal who doesn't bowl in the top six.
Yeah.
But to have one guy who can bowl with the new ball and make the new ball talk, and then again come back and bowl the 18 and 20, Jasprit Bumrah is one who does that, and Bhuvi is the second guy who does that. So these guys are like gold dust because they are
Yeah.
doing the two jobs for you. They're doing bowling with the new ball and getting you wickets, and coming at the back end and stopping runs. That is
Agreed.
the reason
Fully agree.
why. That is the reason why he is so invaluable to Indian cricket. And since Rohit has become captain, there's been a fresh lease of life for Bhuvaneshwar. He was losing his way slightly. Sometimes a captain, your rapport, your faith, just an arm around the shoulder, something. He was losing his way. And as we see, with so many injuries, it's very important for us to have 4, 5 bowlers. Because if we have just two bowlers and one of them get injured and one has a stiff neck, we'll go with none. So for the same skill set, we need a few bowlers. So now we've got these guys who played. We've got Shami who's outside. We've got Avesh who's outside the 11. We've got somebody like a Siraj who's waiting. We've got Harshal, Bumrah. It's better than not having enough choices.
Okay, gentlemen, an update. Our player of the match, there was a tussle between Virat Kohli's sensational century and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar with his bowling spell, but it's ultimately Virat Kohli who is our player of the match. He was outstanding with getting back to his form, and we do hope he continues forward with this performance
I
and
wish it
this
was joint.
confidence.
24
Beg your
balls, five
pardon?
wickets. I wish it was a joint one. This is one which was calling for a joint one because one guy
Yeah.
gets to play 50, one guy gets to play 50 balls, the other guy gets 24 balls, and usually a 5 wicket is equated with 100.
Yes,
Yes. I
definitely.
agree.
So in
Like
24
both
balls, he got
Bhuvi.
5 wickets. Yeah, so I wish it was a joint. No, no, Virat set the match up. Only Bhuvi could come and do what he did because of what Virat did. So Virat is goes without saying. I wish it was a joint one. This is a perfect case for a joint one.
Definitely. Both of these players have Team India as a unit were sensational, and these two were just outstanding. There are no words to describe how great they were. Now, let's come to Afghanistan as a team. A team from yesterday, that heartbreak of a loss, then immediately within 24 hours having to come out to play a game again. Uh, their bowling. Let's just first come to their bowling. Joida, what do you have to think about Afghanistan's bowling? Because one of the very rare matches in UAE, a team that wins the toss has lost the match.
Yeah,
Afghanistan won
talking
the
about
toss. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, talking about the pitch. The pitch was a really good one today. There was not much difference between the first and the second, which has not been the case in the past. So from ball one, it was a superb pitch to bat on. So the some of the shots that KL and Virat hit is not possible unless the pitch is good enough. So as good as KL and Virat were, they were also aided by a very, very good cricket wicket today. It was a superb piece of, a superb pitch to bat on. And that helped these guys to play at their best. A couple of the shots that Virat hit at the back end, that can only be hit only if the pitch is very good. And when the pitch is that good and KL and Virat are in form, any bowling can crumble. And that's what happened.
Joyada, in that case, please do help me understand this. So, I may be wrong, but today like as there is this saying na, that in UAE the rule is win the toss, opt to bowl. The job is done for you. You will win it no matter whatever the performance is. But today was a bit different. Okay, but uh, you say that it was a batting pitch or something. So like why was the this performance so different in the other matches for Team India? Why today was this performance so different? Batting first.
I'll
Like
explain
why
to
was
you.
batting yeah, please do.
The difference between batting first and batting second, there was no difference today. But in other days, the teams that batted first, the wicket was tacky. And with dew falling, it was becoming better in the second half.
Okay.
So there was a difference between the first half pitch and the second half pitch. And the pitch
Okay.
was more suitable for batting in the second half. And it was difficult to play shots in the first half. But today, the pitch remained the same for the first half and the second half. Does it answer your question?
Okay.
And Damni, I will also add one more thing. I think what you are getting confused is that in UAE they have three international stadiums. One is this Dubai stadium, second is Sharjah, third is Abu Dhabi. This Asia Cup has been played at the two grounds, Sharjah and Dubai. So the yesterday's game was at Sharjah. So on Sharjah pitch, that pitch always helps the spinners. It always has something for the spinners, and that ground for last 2 years I've been seeing has been producing some really great low scoring fighting matches like the one yesterday we saw, where the ball is stopping on the bat, even 129 is too tough to change. This stadium, Dubai, this is the one which is notorious with the toss, where you win the toss, you win the match. But I think today, what happened was that India got so many runs. Like at this ground, 180 in the second innings is chaseable. But getting 212 and against an Indian side, and when you know Afghanistan batting is not as great as their bowling. Their batting doesn't have firepower, such a good firepower like Pakistan or other teams in the world. But their bowling is very good. They have some very world class spinners. So I think that is the difference.
Okay. Okay, that settles it. Let's, in that case, come to Afghanistan's batting today because, well, unfortunately, not much to talk about because the Indian bowling department was so phenomenal. Apart from Ibrahim Zadran, not a single Afghan batter even touched the 20-run mark. It was only Ibrahim Zadran who remained not out at 64. So Joyda, this Afghanistan batting lineup was looking very good, quite impressive throughout this Asia Cup. Unfortunately today, though I would say that after that eighth wicket fell on 87, they still, with a couple of big shots, they reached the 111 score. So what do you make of this Afghan batting lineup today?
I think they were completely bowled over by a very good spell of swing bowling. As we saw when the others bowled, it was not as tough, but the backbone was broken by a superb spell. It's not
Yes.
easy because Bhuvi swings it both ways, and there's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of difference in his release, in his action, which can often be the case in case of fast bowlers where you can make out. There are some key points they give out when they bowl to the outswinger, when they bowl the in swinger. But with
Yes.
Bhuvi, it's all at the wrist. And just like
Mm.
Praveen Kumar, which, rightly and said, Nishant said, and before that, a guy called JP Yadav, again from UP, he used to do it. So, you know, it was high class swing bowling. And before they knew, they were blown over. They just, so T20 is about scoring runs. They were trying to survive and they couldn't. So this is a no match. T20 is about scoring 8 runs and over, today 10 runs and over, 11 runs and over. Here you're trying to save your wicket, what do you do in a test match, and you're failing to do that also. So obviously it's going to be a no
Yes.
match because the requirement for the game is to get 10 runs and over, and you're trying to survive and you can't. So today
And
was a complete difference in the level of skill. Bhuvi's skill was just too good for these guys, as was Virat's skill for the Afghanistan bowlers.
And also, I think once you know that you're chasing 212 and then you lose two wickets up front in the first over itself, uh, it becomes very difficult. Then you know that you are just trying to survive 20 overs. And I think that's what happened with Afghanistan today. They were flat. They were a little flat. I think they were still recovering from the loss last evening.
तो पागल
and
तो नहीं
probably
बात
probably a little bit of fatigue also, maybe because within 24 hours two very big matches you're having
100%.
to play.
100%. At this time, I was speaking to one of my friends who is in a production crew at Dubai. He was
Mm-hmm.
telling me the temperature is around 42 degrees. Hopefully by the evening it settled down, but still, like it's really hot and humid in Dubai at this stage. And
It's boiling
you are
there.
completely drained. It completely drains you out.
just make out people batting on 7 and 10 are totally drenched and they're only
How
batting on
many
7.
how many cramps we have seen in this tournament? Like how many
True.
players we have seen getting cramp treatment? It clearly shows that you have to be, no matter how much you drink water or supplements, whatever, but you still feel you still get dehydrated.
And something I also saw over here, there are 4, 7, 8 guys walking around with, with water and your energy drinks,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
there are,
yeah,
and the fielders are also, so the even the infield fielders are going to the outfield to have a drink while the game is on.
yeah,
That usually doesn't happen. Some guys field at point, some guys field at cover, but today suddenly after 1 over, the point fielder is going to third man fielder is coming to point just to catch the drink, because with
yeah,
this new rule of not taking time, there's a time bar to it and all that, and that's had a huge bearing on the over rate. So that's the reason why this is so tough conditions to play cricket, mind you.
Definitely. And now let me come to some very difficult and tough questions that I personally believe need to be answered, because the World Cup is just merely a month away, and there is a lot of talking going on with how and in what way should Team India now continue with their approach. So, Joy, the first question I'll come to you is, with the biggest question that everybody had with regard to Team India's performance was a lot of experimentation, a lot many changes,
end of the day.
probably too many shifting and shufflings, especially in the Super 4 stage. Like, people literally had themselves talking that, okay, you want to experiment, but why in the super 4 stage? What do you think of this, with these, with so many experimentations practiced now? Should Team India, like, not look towards the upcoming T20 World Cup, change their mindset, maybe ensure what they faced last year should not happen again this year as well?
Yeah, so I think without experimentation, how do you find out the new players? If the same players keep playing, so just to give you an example, back in the day, for India, number 3 played 164 test matches, number 4 played 200, number 5 played 134, and number 6 played 113. So nobody else played for India, hardly played for India unless one of them were injured. But
Yeah,
now with three versions,
Yuvraj
yeah.
Singh was a classic
So
case.
yeah, Yuvraj, KF, Badani were some decent players who missed out. I mean, besides Yuvraj also. But what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say here is, unless you try some players, how do you find an Ashdeep? How do you find an Aksar? If Jadeja kept playing, how would you find an Aksar? And then what happened? While going to Australia, Jadeja is injured. No answer. That's the reason why experimentation is important. And I don't think India experimented in the Super Fours. They went with their best team, and the skill level of the players on that day were not up to the mark. That they will take. That, as a sportsman, you've played sport. Everybody here, all three of us have played sport. We know that our skill level is not at the same level every day. So that is
Ah,
not in our control. I'll just finish on this one. So
yeah,
when I
yeah. Sorry.
when I say experimentation is good in the larger context to find the next group of players, because unless you make them play international cricket, you never know how good they are playing India A and first class cricket. So now we've got Ashdeep, we've got somebody like an Avesh, we've got Surya who's come a couple of years back. So we're getting new players in. We've got somebody like, Deepak Hooda. Now, if the top six kept playing, where would Deepak Hooda be? And what happens if two of those top six, one loses form and one is injured? Then we go hunt for players. So they are doing the hunting from before. Point one. Point two, ultimately, when the team gets onto the flight to Australia, no experimentation will happen. After the experimentation, the best 15, 16 will go and the best 11 will play.
And I think,
Okay.
Damini, because I wanted to talk so much about it, and that's why I am saying this. Uh, you know, there has been so much talk about India's top three, but I was listening to commentary a while back, and I heard a very interesting stat that in this tournament, Rishabh Pant, Deepak Huda, and Surya Kumar
Surya.
Yadav combined have made 115 runs combined in this tournament. That is one of the reasons why India is out of this tournament. So we have been talking so much about the top order, their intent, their run rate, but in this tournament, what we realized at the right time that our middle order also needs some work. Obviously,
Nishant,
when Hardik,
you're absolutely right. Our middle order failed. Surya, except that Hong Kong game, didn't get
yeah,
going. But the reason we talk about the top order is that the Dadas are there.
yeah, absolutely.
I believe Nishant is facing
Yeah.
network
So
issues.
yeah, he's
Is
back.
Nishant back? Nishant, you're on
You're on
mute.
mute.
Nishant, you're on mute. Nishant, you're on mute. Nishant probably is not catching our message.
Nishant.
Nishant, Nishant is facing
Yeah.
Nishant is
Yeah.
facing issues. So Joyda, if I can continue with you with my second question, that is, from here, since this has been, I would use a very strong word, disappointing outing
It
for
has. It has.
the team India, for team
It
India.
has.
So before the World Cup, the ultimate tournament, there are good news is that there are two T20 series that India gets to play. First,
That's right.
Australia comes, then South Africa comes. So there is a ample amount of practice that Team India will uh,
Uh,
get to have.
against
And
against
yeah,
some very strong opposition.
absolutely, absolutely. So it's that's a good sign. So think from the point of view of a coach who is having to handle a team who is has a lot of potential, is the best team, one of the best teams around the world, but is somehow not being able to grab that coveted title to feel good about themselves. So how would and have also unfortunately lost another big tournament like this, like the Asia Cup. So how would encourage your players, or how would you like to see Team India from here carrying on their approach to the ultimate tournament in Australia next month?
You know something? Nobody feels worse about how this team is shaped up than the team and the players and the management, because they
Yes.
felt directly they feel responsible for letting a nation down on a cricket field. And
Yeah.
so, just to put to that, if we just have a look for now, for Rahul Dravid, it's for him and the selectors to sit down and decide who their 20 are. And then who are the ones we're going to go with? What is Hardik Pandya's workload management now? Do we want him to play against Australia and South Africa both? Because Australia are the current world champions. South Africa hasn't lost a match in India in T20 since 2018.
Mm,
So they're going to be tough opponents. Okay, and I'm really happy that we are playing some tough opponents rather than
mm,
weak opponents, because often that will tell you where the cracks in our team lie. Now, this was one off, and we did not play well. Nadal lost in the US Open. Kyrgios has lost in the US Open quarterfinals. Four young guys, none of the big guys are there. But there is not one negative word about Nadal. So ideally, as much as, because it's the national team now, we all are passionate about it. If this was an individual sport, we probably wouldn't be. But I understand that if that's how sport is. Now we are wondering, with no Djokovic, no Federer, okay, Nadal should be winning this, but he's lost in the quarterfinals. So that is why for Dravid now, sit with the selectors, sit with the management, guys. We're really close to the real action now. 20 boys, okay. horses for courses. Top three replacement, 4, 5, 6 replacements, 7, 8 replacement, 9, 10, 11 replacement, and one or two other guys. This is the 20. Let's go with our main team in these games against Australia and South Africa. Let's give this first 15, 16 a proper go so that we exactly know who our first 11 is, who our reserves are.
Absolutely. And Nishant, if we now have you back with us, can I now request you to, give us your thoughts about, like I was having a talk with Joyda that before the ultimate tournament in Australia, India will have a good homework. They'll get to do a good homework against two very good teams, Australia and South Africa, as they will be coming to India. They will have a thorough T20 practice before they get to the ultimate tournament. So, how would you like to see Team India, making the most of these two upcoming series? Like, do as much of mistakes, as many experiments, whatever, of course barring injury concerns, of course, may not a single player face injuries, but apart from that, how would you like to see Team India making good use of these two series?
Before Team India, I would urge the fans of Indian cricket to be little patient when India plays against Australia and South Africa, and don't judge the team by the results they produce, because they will be still in the process of finding the best possible 11. And like Joyda keeps talking about the form, which is a very important factor in a game like cricket. They will be still searching for the players who are in the best frame of mind, best form, who will be where, who will be, it's not about having a good player. It's also about uh, who suits in which role. Like Deepak Huda is not your number six player. If Deepak Huda is in the team, he has to be at three or four. He's not a finisher. So all those experiments will keep happening. So as fans, we need to be a little patient. And yes, our disappointment or our happiness should be after the World Cup. Once the World Cup is done, then we should have a very hard look at this team and say that, look, if we win, then also we need to make a future plan. And if we lose, then we definitely need to make a future plan. But at this stage, I think our job is to support our team. And on the Indian side, I think they will have to walk that very thin rope where they will have to experiment and also play, because it's also that when you keep losing matches, you lose that confidence also. So they have to balance between playing their best 11 and also making sure that every player which is boarding the flight for Melbourne is actually mentally and physically fully fit and in good shape to the best of his ability. And for that, how they go about it is something which they need to do. They have been playing non-stop cricket. If you look at it since IPL, I'm not talking about players. Players have been given rest at all given times, but India as a cricket team have been playing cricket non-stop since IPL, and they have played a lot of 2020 cricket. So team management's job will be to provide opportunities to the players who have been, searching their form in someone like KL Rahul today, and also give rest to the players who they think are in good shape, and but they would need certain amount of rest to be fully ready and fresh for a tournament like Australia. So I think they have to balance that approach now.
Okay, and my final question before I wrap up this show would be to Joyda. Joyda, on an ending note, if I give you to sum up India's entire performance in this Asia Cup campaign of theirs, what would you say, according to you, was the main reason where India unfortunately faltered to make it quite effective in this Asia Cup?
The batting unit. The batting unit as
Okay.
a whole. I
Okay.
think at the top, people still got some form, but I've been very disappointed by Surya, by Pant, by even Hardik, except that one innings against Pakistan. I think Hardik hasn't played a lot, so maybe not. But everybody else, I think as a team, we haven't batted well enough for the conditions. In every game except today, we were 20 runs short, and 20 runs is a lot of runs in T20 cricket. A lot of runs. It is often
And
the difference between winning and losing a game.
and I would just add to what Dada has been saying. I will just add to that in the last, especially the two crunch games in Super Fours against Sri Lanka and Pakistan. And that would be the situation in Australia as well. Every game will be a crunch game. I think Indian approach looked a bit confused.
Okay. So, with this, we come to the end of this post match show of this discussion, this clash between India versus
Damni,
Afghanistan of the Super
I
Fours.
will like to leave you. I will like to show you and leave the show on a happy note to all our fans who are watching. I would like them to show a bit of British Columbia, my village here. See, it's a bright sunny day, just like an Indian team. We all are happy, basking in the glory of Virat Kohli's 100. And I am happy to show you uh, the trails and the rivers and the beautiful British Columbia of Canada.
Excellent.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Nishant. And this was the clash of the Super Fours, India versus Afghanistan. Sad that they end their campaign like this, because both these teams had started on a very handsomely winning note. Unfortunate, somehow things didn't work for them. They had to end like this tonight, but it's Team India in this clash who have ended on a high, and let's just hope that both these teams take out the positives and encourage themselves to move forward. And ladies and gentlemen, you were hearing my panelists Jaideep Mukherjee and Nishant Jeet Arora with their insights. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining. And we meet again on the 20th of September when India lock horns with Australia. The Australia tour of India T20I series commences. Until then, take care of yourselves and do not forget. I'll tell you the time at exactly 11:50 p.m. IST. Please, gentlemen, do not forget to cheer for our golden boy Neeraj Chopra. He'll be throwing the javelin in the Diamond League in Switzerland, and we do hope that he finishes on a high. So that's it. Take care of yourselves, and it's good night from India.
Thank you.
Night.